Alright, we live. Oh, we going.
And here we go with another episode of Eavesdrop. We back, fellas. Shipping on champagne.
Not just fellas. Don't forget the ladies.
The ladies too. I'm sorry, I was talking to just
Don't
the people
forget
in the
them.
room. But we gonna do that, and I'll open it. You know, we gonna address everybody.
Gotcha.
I wanted to acknowledge the beautiful men in the room with me. Here, myself, the Black Anglo-Saxon. We have in here also my guy, Inquisitive Q. And then we also have my guy behind the scenes, behind the camera, Quan the Poet.
Yo.
And so today we are here with you all, and we having a conversation about toxic celebrity worship. And as y'all know, what we gonna do before we get started, we gonna please ask for you all to like the video, share the video, leave your comments. In the actual description,
Now
there is the call-in.
Now DMs.
So if you want to call in, which we will open up our lines for later, we'll have, if you want to call in now and you can still watch the show, we'll have you in the break room because we want to hear everybody's opinion on this whole, toxic celebrity worship thing. Because quite frankly, I'm sick of it. Quite frankly, y'all say y'all sick of it.
Who is y'all? They ain't sick of it.
The public.
Unbelievable.
I'm just going off social media.
Okay.
And I want to thank y'all for my team and then some other fellow supporters. I want to shout out to everybody who's been watching, keeping up, who, comment, come in and watch the videos. We appreciate y'all 100%. And with that being said, this isn't going to be a very, very, academic type of situation. We're just going to have a conversation with the beautiful people. The mic is on, making sure that we don't have that lapse like we did last time. But we are here today to talk about toxic celebrity worship. I will start off and say that with everything that has transpired throughout let's say 6-7 months, along with everybody who's, spoken out of turn or...
So it's on like April, March, 6-7 months?
I don't know. I wasn't counting. There's so much malarkey in my Joe Biden voice that has happened since we've been in COVID.
Sleepy Joe.
Since we've been in COVID, that is bringing me to the point that, I want to have a conversation around, I see people mad at Ice Cube. I see people mad at Terry Crews. I see people mad at Cardi B. I see people mad at Asian Doll, Kanye West.
We should add Doja Cat to that, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation. She been in the chats. We can have that one.
Wow.
Today we going to talk about the people who have, quote unquote, stepped out of their place. And when it comes to, as Ice Cube says, y'all are focusing so much on my credentials. Where's everybody else's credentials? And what I would like to say to that is...
Credentials are bullshit?
Credentials are not only bullshit, but as it relates to the public, because the public are the ones imposing the credentials onto people, what I would like to say is...
Isn't it elitism?
It is elitism. No, it is elitism. Let me finish this one out.
I'm sorry.
It is elitism. It's elitism in the way that the same thing that they're asking Ice Cube to have is something that they don't have. Because when we talk about the public and we talk about the masses, there's a lot of people who want to tell me about politics and tell me, or prior to this election cycle where everybody becomes the political expert.
They are political analysts. They have Twitter, they have Facebook, they know what they're talking about. And Instagram, they get it on their stories. Wait a minute.
No, because you want to know what?
I don't.
Because you want to know what?
No.
How you gonna tell Ice Cube that he's out of line to speak on politics? But the reason Ice Cube even has a lane to move in, or the infamous 50 Cent has a lane to move in to speak on Trump, 20 Cent, which he doesn't want to be, is because you all watch Power. And guess who said stop watching Power? Devon said stop watching Power. You want to know why? Because when we talk about people and we talk about entertainers and we talk about toxic celebrity culture and what we have to hate watch or continue to indulge in despite it being against our demise.
I'm gonna actually write that one down. Hate watch, because I got a real idea.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Hate watch. Are you telling me?
No, I'm saying you
get
that down. Get that down.
Thank you.
Get that down. Because I'm trying to develop a monologue.
Oh, I know what it is, but I'm getting upset. I'm listening.
It is, because it's a pretty bad situation, because those same people who hate watch and continue feeding the institutions. We had the conversation about the NFL, because they are entertainers and celebrities too. Let's not forget. And I ask people to stop watching, but they want to be mad at Donald Trump or 50 Cent, but not want to acknowledge that the NFL as a conglomerate passes over money and political and social capital to Donald Trump himself.
But aren't they nonprofits?
They are nonprofit.
Ooh, but they don't want to pay athletes.
One of the wealthiest nonprofits.
Woo. I don't get how you get
one of the wealthiest nonprofits.
I'm listening, but nonprofits with billionaires. I'm just listening.
And before we get into it, and before I let you get on my brother, before I let you get on my brother, 5 fingers your mother. No, I love you.
Mama jokes. When you talk about mama jokes, I hope you censor this, YouTube. We really talking about master. Slaves never really hated their mamas. They just hated the nigga inside of that big house that thought he knew everything. I think everybody hates that guy, but
we don't know. But this is what we're going to get into. And I'm going to go ahead and get my little piece on the back end of it. This is what drives markets.
Ooh.
The U.S. market is driven by many factors.
Who said this?
This is education. Oh no. Hold on. I'm on the top of Google. This is I can't get the whole thing. Investopedia right now is what I'm reading on.
Investopedia? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. And then it says though, the US market is driven by many factors. Most important are corporate profits. The market reacts to expectations rather than reality. In addition to specific earnings from companies, the U.S. market is also driven by macroeconomic indicators such as employment and manufacturing data. What I want to touch on before I pass the ball to you, kind sir, is I want people to understand that take out this word expectations. And the reason that I take out the word expectations is because, as you know, in Death of a Nigga Boy, which you all can buy and support Gilded Sages right now, as a whole, we talk about behavioral algorithms. We talk about how politicians use social constructs, identity politics, amongst a myriad of other things, to predict outcomes and how people will react. The market does not respond to what you are doing per se, but what it is going to expect you to do. With that being said, stop being predictable. Because what's happening is, when you have a person like 50 Cent, 20 Cent, for the sake of today's argument, he comes out and says whatever he says against Joe Biden and supports Donald Trump. Do your thing, 50. Because guess what? I'm not mad because I understand how capital moves.
Is it 50 or frothy?
Oh, no.
Okay, I think it's frothy. I'm gonna call it frothy. Don't make it in front of the Trap Lord Ross.
Yeah, you're gonna have to break that down.
I'm gonna break that down.
But in terms of how capital moves, capital moves in a very predictable way, the same way people move in a very predictable way.
People are capital, but
because you beat me to the punch.
I'm sorry.
People are capital.
Yeah.
And so when I hear all the time, oh my God, why are these people talking and saying? Because they know you aren't going to do anything about it. They know you aren't going to move in a different way. They know you're going to just fall in line and vote and move and purchase and do everything how you were moved to do. Because as much as people want to say, oh, I hate Kanye West. You bought them last pair of Yeezys, though. As much as people want to say, I hate Michael Jordan. You bought them last pair, what was it? Union Air Jordan LA ones, or them new up and coming, what do we call them? Sale off-white Air Jordan 5s.
I'm with the PSJ 4s, so.
Nigga, I did too.
You know how I am.
But guess what I'm not doing? Online talking about, oh my God. Why is 50 Cent contributing to the existential crisis that is Donald Trump?
Because their existential crisis that they never knew who they were, but that's another story.
Why are we mad at Ice Cube? Because Ice Cube had the audacity to go and speak for the overall community. Because what I also want to hash out right now, quickly before I pass it over to you, is that what Ice Cube did is completely different in contrast into what 50 Cent did. 50 Cent said that, oh, I saw this tax plan immediately impacting me, so therefore I'm going to vote for Trump. Ice Cube said, I'm going to shop a bill however I can for the overall greater good of the community. So with that being said, kind sir, speak to the toxic celebrity culture, please. Worship. I'm sorry, because we're not talking about celebrities. We know they're toxic because the market is toxic.
It's the golden calf, I'm kind of like Moses when he came back from off the mountain and kind of got mad and threw the tablets at the ground because people were worshiping the golden calf. Not that I am a messenger of God. I do not want to insult Judaism. What I am saying is that I can understand Moses being frustrated, being in a privileged position, risked that privileged position, and gone through the hardship just to deliver people. And that's what anyone who's a civic leader really has to do. They have to walk away from the table to understand what's being discussed at the table. To get to your point, I want to say all of this boils down to language. When we talk about toxic celebrity culture, we don't uplift celebrities who uplift principles. Perfect example. Why are we having a conversation about Cardi B and Joe Biden when we got perfectly great celebrities like Viola Davis who can actually bring weight and substance to the discussion? So it's like, what's toxic about it is that it's not the celebrities, it's the celebrities people want to uplift. That's the toxic part. And what I don't get mad, and I made a joke about frothy Cent, is that Trap Lord Ross, another YouTuber who's notorious, frothy likes to sue people. 50 Cent will sue you. So he uses the legal justice system to his aims.
You better shut up now.
He will use it. No, this is fair use. This is fair use, and he will legitimize us in a huge way.
This is very true.
It's like, this is
50 Cent don't want to smoke.
This is a critique. And it's like, he's making, at this point in time, he stepped into politics. So he wants to make a voice for people like he's Dave Chappelle. He's not Dave Chappelle. He would want to come out and drag out in the front. I would never go at 50 Cent about, I would say this, I would never go at Curtis, 50 Cent, and Jackson on what it means to run a show with ABC, Power, and Showtime. I'm not going there. I'm not going to talk to him about licensing deals. I'm not going to talk to him about music. But when he starts talking politics, you just stepped out of your depth. And that's where it becomes toxic, because we allow anybody with any face and any amount of attention to speak on things that they don't have the depth in. And the reason why I brought up Dave Chappelle, because Dave Chappelle, we don't uplift that voice. talked about how he was talking to poor white people about being a Trump supporter when Trump was in favor of rich people. And Dave Chappelle broke down that color line by saying, Trump is in favor of me because he's rich. So 50, Curtis Jackson is not the only person to point out that Trump's tax policies benefits black entertainers. Dave Chappelle did. He was the first. But 50 Cent, where he's dangerous is in these moments of time, is that he's showing you, going to your point, that what's toxic is everyone thinks they're going to be rich. So I'm just going to move like 50 move. And that move like 50 move is going to be great. Like what you don't understand about capital is capital does. If I walk through that door, what makes you think I'm going to make it easy for you to walk through that door?
It's competition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that smoke. If I have these tax advantages, that means I can accumulate more capital. So when you try to enter the market, well, I can just lose money because no one knows your name. And that's where I get, and I will show Curtis Jackson that respect that he understands intellectual property, he understands product, he understands how money moves, what it takes. But the problem is that his base, his primary audience doesn't, because to your point, they think that power is like they're selling you a project dream. You never in your life going to make it like that. The FBI will be up your ass the moment they think you're moving interstate like that. The DEA will be on your ass. You're not that intelligent. No one's that intelligent to outrun machines and to outrun a whole government without having people on the inside.
You brought up something. You brought up Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
You know,
we just did David Letterman.
You know, I love the Clayton Bigsby skit. That was one of my favorite skits.
So
I've loved,
we got to shout out Neil Brennan too whenever we bring up Dave Chappelle.
That's fair.
Because he'll get his spotlight.
No, not at all. And again, going back to capital, how capital moves, that's how it moves, per se. When we talk about faces, when we talk about whole institutions and how those institutions are capitalized, and how they're marketed. Because when we talk about a Dave Chappelle, we talk about a person where I would say I appreciate Dave Chappelle in the sense that in his last, special that he did on Netflix, he said that, entertainers should take a back seat and allow the streets to speak. And what I took from it, I didn't necessarily take it as the streets. I took it as people at the bottom, but also people who have been doing the work in institutions. So what I will say is, for disclaimer, I don't have an issue with Dave Chappelle, because I know an article came out recently, but Dave Chappelle said that he doesn't necessarily want to speak. The reason that we're having this conversation today is because, again, we have entertainers who are in a position where politically they, unfortunately, I feel like, have to speak. And I say that because our community as African Americans, we, like you said, uplift that. And right now we are in a dire straits when it comes to our political and economic standing.
Mm-hmm.
So my question was to people when everything had transpired with 50 Cent, Ice Cube, and whoever chose to speak.
But I'm getting there.
If not them, then who? Because outside of that, I'm not. Even Killer Mike in being a more informed entertainer is still not necessarily a politico and a person who moves in the institutions that we move in. So what I will say to that is, if not them, then who? But at the same time, because I know people thought this show was about bashing entertainers. Nah, capital move, how capital move. The same way I don't have an issue with Trump, Biden, or whoever, because I know that's how this game works. Everybody wants to talk about playing a game, Let's talk about the game and what it is. Because at the same time, I have people who do retail, security, or whatever they do, which I'm not shaming at all. Do what you do. But those people also want to tell me that they're going to overspeak me when it comes to politics, when it comes to policy. But they'll also say, jump out there and take the bullet for us. What army? Because in politics, we need armies. We don't move without armies. Joe Biden, whether you like him or not, Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, got armies. Armies. People that's willing to bloop. When I say go, let's go. So what I'm telling to you all, because I know everybody want to say, oh, they just complaining, they don't got no solution. They don't got no solutions. I wrote this one down because it's something I've been saying for a long time. You know I'm petty.
Bringing out the notes.
Oh, man.
Going back to Death of a Nigger Boy, which you can purchase at Politics and Pros, and that's nigger, Nigger. Because I was never,
You about to get at it.
It's okay.
But ain't nobody here anyway, so.
It's okay. It's all good. We gonna work through it. And you know, I'm gonna work through it with y'all, and I'll take that L, and I'm gonna work 20 times harder just to get us over the hump, because I need to make this point.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about algorithms, we have to change the algorithm actively.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the conversation that we're having around markets are built around attention, right? When we talk about entertainers, everything is about galvanizing attention. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump's strength is he understands markets. He understands the media. He understands that attention is not indefinite. He understands that attention is a very finite thing, a very thing that can be measured. Mm-hmm. And in understanding that, he understands that all of the obscure and bigoted, crazy nonsense he says, MSNBC is going to cover it, CNN is going to cover it, Fox News is going to cover it, BT is going to cover it, MTV is going to cover it, and guess what he does? He takes part in the market share. He takes part in the market. He takes a slither of all of that. Mm-hmm. And not only does he do that, he takes the air out the room for anybody else who has a conversation about actual policy, about actual solutions, because guess what everybody else is focusing on? You get super fired for that. Yeah. You get super fired for that, but that's a whole other conversation for another day, because we gonna get on how fake news is real, about how Donald Trump wasn't lying about fake news, because it's all curated. But again, y'all want solutions. Let's talk about solutions. We have to actively go into ourselves and say, you know what? 50 Cent said some crazy nonsense, some wild mess like that. I have to say, you know what? I can't support 50. I can't support anything. Because see, it goes back around to that NFL conversation, sports conversation we was having a conversation about, and everybody wanted to be like, oh, y'all being parental, y'all being that. But then everybody want to cry about not being protected. You want parents or you don't want to be protected. Last time I checked, being parental was protecting. If I'm not mistaken.
It could be, yes.
There's an element of it.
It is. There is an element of that.
Because I can't protect those who don't want to be protected. And what I'm telling you is, you got to pull out. Pull out. Pull out faster than a nigga making $15K in a month. You gotta pull out.
That's an international players right there.
Because you wanna know what? Until you pull out, these people will have their platforms. These people will be able to garner and move masses of people, whether you like or agree, disagree, hate, love them. Mm-hmm. Because why? When it comes back down to it, they have market share. They have the ear of people. the reason a Cardi B gets to speak with Joe Biden, and I'm not even hating on a Cardi B.
I don't hate her, but
no,
dangerous.
It's dangerous, but Cardi B, do your thing, boo. Because you want to know why? It's the people who have the power. But the people misuse the power.
I thought you were going to read up behavioral algorithm. Be petty.
I didn't read off behavioral algorithm. I didn't think people were ready for it. But I don't have a copy of my book. You know what?
No. I thought you were going to read that off the paper.
Oh, no. I just kind of paraphrased it. This was basically in talking about, you know how I do my notes, cheating the system in terms of, and what I mean by cheat the system is that we have to acknowledge that the algorithms are in place and actively, again, go into the algorithms and say that I'm going to structure them the way that I want because I want certain people to speak for me. And that means that I'm going to take my views away from this person and not hate watch them because they still get the engagement, they still get the actual participation when it comes to tech, because tech is still not human. Tech doesn't have that level of sophistication. Like the video or dislike the video. I don't care. Give me the engagement. You can dislike it. Please hate me. I don't care.
And to that point, and this is what I wrote earlier, hate watch means that people don't like to do anything other than small talk. People don't want to be vulnerable, so they deflect using pop culture. And so if you're hate watching something, and I'm speaking directly to the audience, if you're hate watching something, then that means what you're hate watching is how you're spending your time. So you're using this cultural moment, Donald Trump, to have something to talk about when you socialize with other people because you don't want to talk about yourself. You don't want to talk about where you have failed recently in your life. You don't want to talk about where you are in your personal growth. You don't want to talk about your likes and your dislikes. And I'm not berating people. What I'm getting to is that you're using someone else's life. You're using someone else's attention so that you don't have to focus the attention on yourself. You rather deflect to something else. And this even goes back to Dr. Cornel West. And he was doing a series at Dartmouth. It's on YouTube. It's on my Facebook. You can go and look. And talk about how celebrity is being commodified. And how celebrity is a commodification of attention. And how, so it's in all rings, because most people think, well, black, lower class, it's like, no. And I would say this often, SES, social economic status. Amongst all SESs, everyone wants to be known and recognized. So that's going back on Donald Trump. They're not famous, so let's not make them famous. Because when you're recognized and you get the attention of people, you don't have to need money. The attention itself is a commodity. And so when people talk about campaign finance, it's like campaign finance is so expensive because they need the ad dollars to get your attention. If you actually cared, then they won't need that much attention. And what matters to you is not really the presidency, it's the local person that's running your mess. So it comes down to politics and celebrity. One, I don't blame celebrities for serving their purpose and keeping everyone engaged. That's like me getting upset with Jimmy Fallon. I love Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel. They're using the name Jimmy like the fashion world uses the name Alexander Wang, Alexander McQueen. It has recognition.
That egalitarian.
Yeah, it does. But what happens is that, and a couple of people are talking about how capitalism is playing into feminism. Because we have a lot of, and this is where Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion name itself talks about how it's still a male-dominated society. The stallion is a young male horse, but okay.
And it's the most violent one, ain't it?
Yeah, you can't overthrow a system. You, like Audre Lorde says, and this is what I love about intersectional folks. Because I'm gonna say this, a lot of you intersectional folks don't read. You wait for the headline from CNN, MSNBC to talk about something. You just as bad as, what's her name, Candace Owens. You're just as bad as Bill Shapiro and their whole thing, because it's just red pill, blue wave, red, crimson wave. I don't care about either one of them. I am that rare independent that doesn't mind saying I'm independent because going back to the behavioral algorithms, you're predictable. If I wanted to go into this platform, if I wanted Gilded Sages to grow the same way Frothy did, just insult people that they like.
Yeah, that's all.
They'll hate watch you to the top. But what happens, and this is really what happens, is that these friend groups have people within them that they don't agree with the other people. And that's why they don't talk about politics. Because then I got to look at my friend different because my friend is usually my narcissistic supply. My friend is typically the one that tells me that everything I do is okay. But my friend who secretly has ambition, my friend who secretly agrees with Frothy, my friend who secretly is wanting more and is low-key judging me because all the relationships I'm in and out of doesn't want to talk about how they don't agree with me, so they rather talk about Frothy, they rather talk about Ice Cube. And to get on to Ice Cube has always been this way. O'Shea Jackson Sr. has always been this way. You can go back and look at Higher Learning with John Singleton, a 1995 film. He's always been this way. What's happening is that young black people are being told once more by the elders, I'm going to fill in this one, that the white people are your friends. They can be your ally, but everyone has to fight for their check. That's what they're being told.
I just have a
Go
question
ahead.
for you. I just have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You just said a lot. So are you?
I know I was parched.
Are you telling me that people who are quote unquote friends maintain their friendships and relationships by talking about celebrity entertainment, sports, TV shows, to not have to acknowledge the toxic, detrimental, regressive behaviors that are damaging to the communities. This is what you're saying, sir?
You know me.
Is this what you're saying?
You know me.
Oh my God.
That's my response. Hey, bro, man, imagine having a chick like Cardi that's going to buy you. Imagine having enough money you can buy Cardi a $500,000 car, son. Imagine being that dude. Now, if I was Russell Westbrook and I had that kind of check, I would do that. Because Cardi, think about this, bro. Cardi, she makes her own money. She can buy you shit. So technically, Offset didn't do much with give Cardi back that $500,000 that she gave him for his birthday. Yeah. So low key,
it offset.
It was like literally it offset. So he didn't spend that much money. But here is the sickness. People will have that discussion rather than talking about why their kids can't eat. They'll have that discussion and rather than talk about why it's absolutely toxic that Kim Kardashian is leading the discussion on social justice. Like, she has literally used black men in every racial trope you can. From the sexual guy, Ray J, to the successful black guy, Kanye, Reggie Bush, to the light skin with Chris Humphries, to now I'm going to save black men from jail. Kim Kardashian has been allowed to do more than Michelle Alexander. She has been allowed to do more than Kim Straw. And I'm talking about women legal scholars who have written for black people, have marched for black people, who are black women, identify as black women, who the intersectional community don't lift up, but they'll put Lizzo in my face. Fuck Lizzo. I said it. I want to say it again.
You can't say that.
No. Oh, no. I want that smoke.
They're going to say you fat shame.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm fat myself. I'm fat myself. I don't give a damn.
That's why it's funny.
We got whole pictures of me being a chunky motherfucker.
You know, identity politics go down to Ruby. So once they touch you on fat shaming, you fat, and then once they touch you on black, y'all both black. Now guess what it's going to be?
Oh, I'm a man.
You're a man.
How about this?
And you're mansplaining.
I didn't mansplain. I took a position. I never said that she was wrong for what she was doing. I said fuck Lizzo. As I was saying, fuck Lizzo because she's appealing to a white.
You can't curse. You can't curse. You on live TV.
Forget Lizzo because she's a woman who's appealing to a white man the same way Shonda Rhimes appealed to white men with using a powerful woman in Scandal to say that we will keep black men in control as long as you give us policy to hashtag protect black women. So again, we'll uplift a Lizzo over a Viola Davis. Where's that sexist? We'll uplift a Lizzo over a Kimberly Crenshaw. Where's that sexist and more importantly, non-intersectional? We're dropping bombs. We dropping gems. Mm-hmm. We will uplift a Lizzo over a Michelle Alexander, who wrote the new Jim Crow. So I'm not saying put my voice in place of Lizzo. I'm saying put a mature black woman who has articulated herself and lived a life long enough to put her in front of a presidential candidate instead of Lizzo. Because I don't know who the actual entertainer is. I'm removing the entertainer from the actual person. The same way they have a legal name, they have an entertainer name. But when you enter this space, this public space, that's why I use inquisitive Q, the same way Jay-Z said, fudge Nike, fudge Lizzo. I don't care about your brand. I don't want you to speak for me. Because I have quote-unquote white friends that think, well, oh, black people are the reason that Biden is the reason, black people are the reason Biden is the election. Is the Democratic candidate and not Bernie. It's like y'all don't understand black people because you don't want to talk to black people. You just think you want to understand black people. It's like,
get on your soapbox.
You don't really understand black people because you don't understand what blackness is. One, it's an Orientalist term. When you say black, you're talking about not only just black African Americans. When you say black, you mean Afro-Caribbeans, not only in Jamaica, Barbados, and so forth. You're also talking about inside of the UK. You're also talking about black people on the sub-Saharan Africa, because Northern Africans are considered white in America, but you're considering those black, but you're also talking about Aborigine Australians who are considered black. Mm-hmm. So when you say black, please specify with me what region you're talking about, what municipality you're talking about, and the origin of the people that you're discussing. Because I need that level of particulars and details before I believe that you're speaking in my favor. And that's why I say again, fudge Lizzo. You want that smoke? Let's go.
So, what that is, you made some comments about attention, commodity, and you know, all of those things being commodified, and that, you know, I'll speak to it to some extent, you know, and the reason that we are talking about the toxic celebrity culture because it's not just about the what we call A-list celebrities. We don't. I don't know, but what I want to get into is the fact that from that culture, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Twitch that you recently just exposed me to, we have Snapchat. We have a lot of different avenues to gain likes, comments, and shares. And I'll be, because I'm the slut of the group, I need y'all to like, comment, and share the video. Because again, the conversation that we're having is if you want people to actually speak for you in the interest of you, this is probably the freest way that you can support. Because guess what? Algorithms matter. The more likes, shares, and comments I get, the more Joe Biden or Donald Trump has to listen to me. And guess what?
That's you.
I'm going to bring that smoke. And I'm not no fool. And I ain't your folks on either side. So with that being said, going back to the original point, is that when we look at the toxic celebrity culture and we bring it back down, as you know, I like to center the disadvantaged communities and poverty. You know,
disadvantaged community.
You know, I got my talking points. You know, I'm trained in this shit. I can do it. But the disadvantaged communities. Let's talk about the numbers too, though. When we talk about the suicides, the depression rates, when we talk about the anxiety, when we talk about the exposure to uh, fantasy, when it comes to people aspiring to be not just affluent, but celebrity. Because affluent is different from celebrity.
It is.
You can be affluent without being a celebrity.
Most are.
And most of us are chasing celebrity. And I think when we talk about the toxicness of it, I think we have to talk about what Ronald Reagan would love and what trickle down. When we talk about the trickle down, we have to talk about how this gets back down to the bottom of everybody else.
That's funny.
Even DC loves trickle down.
I know, that's why it's so funny.
Even DC loves trickle down. Everybody loves trickle down. Charlamagne the God loves trickle down. Everybody loves opportunities on trickle down. Mm-hmm. It's all the same thing. But going to the trickle down, the toxic celebrity culture, though. Let's talk about the young women. Let's talk about the young men who are struggling in the way that they are aspiring to things that are a complete fantasy and aren't anchored in a reality. Let's talk about the Brazilian butt lifts or the bodies and the absorbent amounts.
The relationship goals.
We gonna get there. We gonna get there. But before we get there, let's talk about them individually before we get to them in terms of
gotcha.
marrying them. Because you have men out here striving to be 6-figure plus. And we know that is top 10, 15, 20, 30% of men. And that's not necessarily the reality for most of us. As we see articles come out, about 8 million have slipped into poverty due to COVID. What I will argue against and say that we've been in poverty. It's just that COVID is exposing it, and we have the young women who are impressionable, chasing after bodies, Brazilian butt lifts, and so on and so forth, because they see, as you mentioned, the attentions, the likes, and the comments being commodified. And when we talk about them going down this path of destruction, I ask everybody, I challenge everybody. Y'all say y'all don't necessarily like certain people, whether they be political, whether they be entertainers. But let's talk about the principle, minus the persona. Mm-hmm. Because when people will say they don't like a 50 Cent, Ice Cube, Asia Doll, mm-hmm. Doja Cat, Candace Owens, you know what everybody subscribes to in America, which is celebrity culture? I gotta get it how I live. And for those who watching, get it how I live is by any means necessary, I'm gonna make this money. And as we talked about earlier, money continuing to be put over principle mm-hmm. is the destruction of our nation. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, as I was running earlier, I thought about anarchy. A lot of people, talk about anarchy and don't think they really understand anarchy. In the sense that we are already in anarchy and that it is every man for himself. Unless you convince other people to come into you, which goes into the likes, the attentions, and the comments. Mm-hmm. And going back to your statement of, if we wanted to just be market savvy, business savvy, about the bag, man, I would just appeal to y'all
all day. I wouldn't say nothing I just said.
Yeah, tell you lies all day, every day. But guess what? They don't understand that they're being lied to. They don't understand that the people who telling them the truth or are trying to be objective, objectivity is the new way of the future. Fuck it, we the future. We are the future. Objectivity, when we talk about democracy, if you a slave to the market, you are not democratic in any way, shape, or form. If you a slave to the market, and the reason that I say that is because you're bound to a construct. You do not have a choice. If you are bound to the market, you bound to the market. How I wish you would say something to me right now. There's so many people. I wish you would step out there, hop on it. Look, the call-in link is in the description. If you are democratic, hop out there. I want smoke. I want smoke. Because our activity is the new way of the future. And we gonna be the future. Because guess what? I don't like either side. And this is, like you said, I'm not registered as an independent. Right. Because you are, and now for transparency, I'm not registered as an independent because I chose my career.
Yeah, that matters, and we're in the beltway. That matters.
Oh yeah, I'm not independent.
And so y'all can attack me on that, but
that's off camera stuff.
I got this smoke. Because in the mental, ideologically speaking, oh no, I'm independent. You Democrat, you can get it. Republican, you can get it. What in the Senate, you can get it.
But that's bipartisan for real.
All day, every day.
That's really what I had to jump in there. That's what really a bipartisan person is that my core principles align with this party. But I understand that party politics feed into an echo chamber, and any kind of group thought becomes toxic and fumigating. So I understand that although I may not ideologically agree with someone along the aisle about the principles of life, I agree that this moment in life, we need bipartisanship. We need both aisles. Like I said it about Lizzo and everything else, but it's just like, no, we need to get to the point where what you're talking about objective. We need to tell people, if you're going to be speaking on my behalf, the same way we do about Ice Cube, if we going to have Ice Cube being saying credentials, then we need Megan Thee Stallion, who's what, not even 30. Because when you get into politics, you're talking about everybody's life, who's not even 30. We need Megan Thee Stallion's credentials. We need Cardi B's credentials. For you to be like, we need Charlamagne the God's credentials. Because you're just a journalist. And you're not a journalist in the Beltway, so any Beltway journalist won't respect you, Charlamagne. You're in New York. You're not Beltway. I need you to understand that. Charlamagne, you're not Beltway. You're not Beltway built. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna just read off.
No problem.
It was someone Zero F's Given podcast. They said that Ice Cube was being misleading.
Yeah.
I wanted you guys
call in, man. That's the fact.
How you been misleading? How is he been misleading?
And then he expounded on it. He says he has influence and he is telling people that we not holding Biden and Harris accountable, but people have been driving the black agenda at both parties, saying
they haven't. You said the Republicans have been driving?
No, he said that he has influence and he is telling people that we not holding Biden and Harris accountable, but people have been driving the black agenda at both parties. I don't know who people are, but that's what his response was.
Yeah,
and he also said saying he spoke with the Republicans and not the Democrats is indirectly endorsing Trump.
Pause.
That's it.
Pause. This is where political people got to step in. An endorsement is saying I support that candidate and I am for that candidate and you should vote for that candidate. First off, Ice Cube did not meet with Donald Trump himself. And being as though, I know, you support me, you don't support Muriel Bowser. Do you endorse Muriel Bowser? First off, no, you don't. I am a surrogate. I have placed people in position. That does not mean that they also show complete solidarity in terms of the candidate itself. Ice Cube took a policy that he worked with grassroots organizations, academics, took that, said, look, I want to talk to whoever. GOP, what we must understand about politicos as a whole is that politicos are highly trained to take advantage of anybody and everything. We are trained to leverage even your lives. That's why COVID is the way that it is right now. That's why the stimulus, Nancy Pelosi, and all of these establishment Democrats is the way that it is right now. Because we are trained to leverage everything on both sides. It's political, give me 1 second. It's political ideology. It's political school of thought. Ice Cube, yes, has been taken advantage of, but just like in every other relationship, you have to take that risk in being taken advantage of. Because guess what? If that were the case, you also wouldn't meet with Democrats. Because guess what? Democrats have taken advantage of not just 1 generation, 2 generations, 3 generations. Everybody loved to quote Malcolm X, 4, 5, 6 generations. Everybody loved quoting Malcolm X. They took advantage of him too when he went to meet him. When we talk about Lyndon B. Johnson, we talk about the most staunch racist who gave us civil rights. It is not a matter of being taken advantage of or assuming that you're going to be taken advantage of that leads you into the action that you're doing. You have to be willing to be taken advantage of. Because in politics, we take advantage of everybody. We rape everybody. This is about nothing. Nobody cares about people in that way when you talk about politics. In DC, we all been raised on. It's politic or be politic. Nobody cares. Ice Cube had a plan. Yes, he got taken advantage of. I would have wished that he would have thought of that prior to, but I am also happy that a black man was willing to stand in the middle of the road and say, shoot at me. Shoot at me. Because in the end, damn if you do, damn if you don't. Because me being silent,
I disagree with that one. I'll say why.
That's cool. Damn if you, and the reason I say it is because on one hand, everybody want to say black men don't stand up and protect. But then at the same time, when you do stand up and try to do something in good faith, because I feel like that matters more, it don't matter. And we wonder why black men go silent. Because everybody would have an issue if the most intelligent black men went silent.
Let me jump in there. I love it. I want to jump in there. Because I love the passion that you just gave us. Gave the energy to it. And because you went there, it allows me to say that politicians are decision makers professionally. And what goes into decision making is that cold calculation. No one cares.
No one.
No one.
It's numbers.
No one. I can't make...
Not because it's spreadsheets.
It's not even just numbers. They gotta understand this is ratios. It's more than numbers. It's ratios. You gotta understand utilitarianism. Is that, do I uplift this or do I uplift that? Because what people don't want to give politicians the respect of is that you also are locked in time with us. You also get incomplete information. You also get uncertainty. You also have to deal with that. Who was that? They say the unknown unknowns. I forgot who says that.
Is that
No, that's the most unknown unknowns. But no, there are unknown unknowns.
We some niggas.
Exactly, there's unknown unknowns.
This is mafia.
But my thing is that I get where No Fuss Given podcast is coming from. But that's a problem going back to what I said. If you got a Cardi B and a Lizzo and a Michelle Alexander and a Viola Davis in your face, then you got an Ice Cube that's going to look crazy. Because those young women, those however they want to identify, outside of their entertainment life, they haven't reached enough maturity to understand how politics will affect their day-to-day life. And that's with Frothy. 50 shows that he is a marketing shark. If you know two people who should go head to head, the Black Apple and the Black, because Black people love putting Black in front of something. The Black Apple and the Black Windows commercials. Y'all remember those commercials, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, y'all remember those. You know who would be the best at that? Hove and Curtis. If those two went at it, Hove is more like Bill Gates and Curtis is more like Steve Jobs with his creation. If they went together, I promise you, they will literally lead the headlines because those two are very clever at getting underneath people's skin. But what I'm getting to is that like Talia Carly, he's been ran out. Once you age in any system, you stop going by this call-out culture. You stop going by that. It's like, bro, some of your friends be doing some wild they haven't told you about. Wait until you get older and then you don't care no more. You like, yo, these people are wild. And that's what we got to talk about with politics. Because as a writer, we talk about human behavior and you observe human behavior. When we talk about the market, it's about human behavior. Most people like celebrity because celebrities are comfortable people that they can believe the messaging from. Going back to campaign finance. If people really had conversations about politics amongst themselves, we would be far more sophisticated in our ask of a Lizzo. Let's say, and I'm going to take this. I'm going to capitulate instead of taking my stance. I'll capitulate for the sake of the argument. Lizzo is the leader. Mm-hmm. Cardi B are the leaders. They having a discussion with Biden. Mm-hmm. What questions are we giving Lizzo and Cardi B? What concerns? How are we empowering Lizzo and Cardi B, like you said, not to be taken advantage of like a Ice Cube? How are we giving Lizzo and Cardi B the tools they need to not be, for their platforms, not be taken advantage of it? And this is a perfect example because I love how time works. Barack Obama, everybody's black daddy. Number 44, who there's no white America, there is no black America, but when he was in office and was pressed by even Frontline about policy for black America and how he didn't want to do anything, made fun of no other than Jay-Z in the White House correspondent dinner. I got 99 problems and Jay-Z's one. If you don't understand that the TV is not real life, that these screens are not real life, then going back to your whole thing, because I'm getting on my soapbox with this one. Young women are literally killing themselves because they believe what's on social media. One reason I literally listen to older women who are models, but like they are showing you young women and telling you that those young women are grown women. That's not how a grown woman's body looks. So I was like, okay, cool. Young women are literally committing suicide because they think they're supposed to look like this ideal. It's like, that's not your body type. That's not you. You're never going to be that. And it's okay for you to, like I was going to bring up last time, it's okay to be average. We are in this culture, and going back to your whole point about going for celebrity, everybody wants to be recognized. And to be recognized, you have to be exceptional. It's more exceptional to be able to emotionally regulate day to day and not bother people that need the attention of strangers. And here's again, we don't talk about celebrities. We talk about the headlines. Taylor Swift has talked about this. What's his name? Ed Sheeran has talked about this. Taylor Swift is fighting for her masters. Because I'm not sexist or anything else. I don't have nothing against anybody. And because I understand what it takes to maintain expectations, what celebrity really is, I understand that part of the reason that politicians themselves have to go before celebrities to beg to be on their platform because the average person doesn't care about what goes on in day-to-day in their environment. You know, I'm a lover of language. And this is where all this really comes down to. language. Politics comes from what? Politicos, which means what? The affairs of the city. If you don't want to get to know your neighbor, then you don't want to have an actual voice. Who votes count? More importantly, what matters after you cast your vote? What are you going to do after you cast your vote? Because that's how you hold your politician accountable. That's why they're so arrogant. But they don't like folks like me. Because I'm the type of person, I'm going to cast my vote, and I'm going to see your ass tomorrow. And I'm going to see your ass next week. Now, I want a quarterly report. I need numbers. I'm going to see your ass at the next meeting. You going to tell me what you did. Because what people like me do, and they hate senior citizens. Because that's what senior citizens do. They hate white moms. Because this is what white soccer moms do. They hold people accountable. That's why I'm not mad at everybody being a Karen. Karens need to hold people accountable. The problem is that they're taking Karens and making it a racial trope. And, you know, I don't like racial tropes along no lines. We need people who are concerned with the well-being of others to speak to authority with a principle. It's saying like, look, I don't care that, I'm about to bring it into music. I don't care that Prince is talking about sex. I just want to have a warning label to tell my child that he's talking about sex. So that's fine if it didn't have the racial undertones that it had. That's fine. But the civic duty of saying that this is a fantasy, and this is what I'm gonna get off my soapbox with this one. The kids need adults. We need adults to stop worshiping celebrity and get to the real day-to-day life. You need to know who the fuck is representing us. We need to know who the fudge is representing us day-to-day. Forget Trump. Forget Biden. Do you know your local politicians? Do you know where you can go if something is happening on your road? Because if you're looking at the federal level, then you don't understand the state level, then you damn sure don't understand the local level. Or the community level doesn't even exist to you.
Yeah.
But that's where you are. You're at the community level. You always and will always be. And I'm gonna get off really, I'm gonna shut up after this one. Remember we was talking earlier, and I was talking about like with JFK. JFK, he came from money, but he still had to do the local circuit. Politicians these days, and I don't care what no one says, politicians these days is if I get enough attention, then I have the right to lead. It's like, no. That is a life. Fuck you academic. That is a calling. That is something you literally waking up and deciding for the rest of your days, you're going to worry about other people's lives because you, as a politician, have decided, I'm going to hold other people accountable for messing over other people. This is why we don't have a Robert F. Kennedy. People, it's like, why don't we have a king? You can't have a king if your ass not willing to walk for over a year. You can't have a king if you're not willing to listen to the Poor People's March. And you're not going to have a Robert F. Kennedy if you want to be rich.
Hey, I'm going to say this.
I'm sorry.
No,
I've been going off this night, so.
I'm going to just say, fudge these academics, man. Hey, shout out to the politicos who perverse everything in society, including these academics. Shout out to academics. Hold on. You trying to show us academics. Wait a minute. We have Henry Kissinger. Exactly. That's academics. Don't act like we ain't savage. I like Henry Kissinger.
I know.
Henry Kissinger.
We savage.
Was it? Hold
savage.
on. He was an academic turned politico.
No, he was an academic. He's an academic.
He was an academic and he informed politico.
Exactly. He informed politico, so us academics are also fucked up. You know, I always say, I don't care, they're gonna beep it out. You all know I always say that the Ivory Tower is a tower in London. That's why I want people to read, because it's a logical fallacy to believe in authority.
That's true.
And I say this all the time, bro. It's like, yo, we got Richard Nixon. He was also racist, but he feared black movements. He actually feared black movement.
People actually had balls
because niggas was doing like this and having guns on the street saying that we're not here to shoot you, but we're not here to let you shoot us. Yeah. And that's when you get a shot of support.
I got love to all academics. We just it's love.
He's trying to make it act like y'all more evil than we are. Y'all politicians are hilarious. Y'all cute. Y'all don't know.
Hey, we just need more academics over here, man. Y'all know y'all should.
Put us on the budget. Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
But hey, put us on budget.
While we here, man. Hey, look, man. Everybody who comment, man, jump in the motherfucking live, talk some shit. We here. I'm cursing too. Talk some shizness. And you know, we try to have a conversation. Again, man, we not here to talk to ourselves. We love talking amongst ourselves. We need to talk amongst ourselves too much.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. You know, we love the perspective. We trying to build community as a whole result of this. You know, we joking somewhat, having a serious conversation. It's all love.
It's always
but if you watching the video, you know, like the video, please help us cheat the algorithm. Share the video, help us cheat the algorithm. Comment, man. You know, if you got our man over here who I'm about to go to in a minute, can you please check the comments and everything else like that while you give us your take on this whole crazy celebrity toxic. Nah, man, that junk, man, these bottles, hold on.
You know, with me, it's like juice.
No, I'm just saying, look, while we here talking about celebrity, talking about industry, talking about marketing, all y'all people who make alcohol, stop making these deceiving bottles. I don't like the hump that's in the bottle that makes it seem like it's more.
But you know what the hump is for, right? Let me see.
What's the hump?
Let me see. Let me see the bottle. It's to help you pour. Oh no, that's a fake hump. That's not a real hump.
Yeah,
it does help you pour.
It don't help me pull.
Yeah.
I pull by the neck.
Yeah. Like you about to pour that liquor out for your dead homies.
Blue! Y'all the reason. Y'all know. Wait a minute, I'm getting on this. Y'all the reason. I'm looking at goddamn stemless stemware because y'all don't want to use stemware. Why you gotta warm your motherfucking libations? Use the stem. Use the goddamn stem. That's all you gotta do is take your glass, hold it like this, and take it by the base.
Oh shit.
It's still comfortable without warming your drink.
Oh shit.
Why can't we be classy heathens? That's what I want to be. Sell out!
You a sellout! Nobody want to care about no woman, no motherfucker. Get your ass, boy.
But this is perfect right there, like this. Fuck y'all.
That's
Go ahead, Daquan, whatever you saying.
But nah, as far as where I land on the toxic celebrity thing, I feel like yes, we definitely do need to pull back on that aspect of it, because again, it takes away a lot of the time, and what we really have to begin to really think about is that time is that new metric. So you have whole platforms and you have whole entities that's built on retention. You know what I mean? So if you can put it whatever you can enough to retain a person in one space or on a platform long enough, that equals dollars. But it's at the expense of you actually being productive.
Yeah.
So celebrities and all of these types of things, they all feed into that ecosystem now.
Yes.
That's keeping people literally damn near trapped on platforms. Like you'll end up like take for YouTube for example, you'll end up hate watching something, but then they come with that playlist of similar shit, and then all of a sudden it's like video after video, and you done spent all your day just looking at similar stuff. All because that platform was used. It used your attention to feed you everything that you were looking at over and over and over and over. And nobody's seeing how that's being monetized and how that's playing.
What's the name of that?
Against your whole, like, everything you like. They're just literally feeding you.
What's the name of that professor? Surveillance capitalism.
Selena Zoboff.
Yeah.
She from Harvard. I forget her.
She's
I forget her name.
Harvard. Because I just wanted to jump in. It's like, no, there's people who get it. Going back to this, I gotta keep chanting for us academics. Y'all trying to make us adjuncts. If you want to stop oppression, you need us academics willing to tell you they lying to you. But to your point, because he's a heathen, to your point, kind sir, there is someone who's paying attention to what you're talking about. Because you're absolutely right in your assessment.
All right. We got our brother, our fam in here. CA Blue. We're going to ask you to unmute so you can go ahead, come in here.
Would you done though?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll be back. Since CA came in, he's like an unofficial sage.
Yeah.
Already. I'm good to say this all day. What's going on, y'all? Can you hear me?
Fan.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
First of all, how y'all doing? What's going on, guys?
I'm good at your kind self, sir.
I came in late. I came in around 8 o'clock, so I did miss some of the conversation, but I think I got an idea of what's going on. I came here solely to defend my celebrities. If Cardi B wants to have a conversation with Bernie, why not? If Diddy wants to start the Black Power Party, why not?
So, bring you up to speed, right? Nah, bring you up to speed. I agree with you 100%.
It's like, no. What's up?
So, because what happens is this conversation is more about holding the market who gives the platform to celebrities accountable, right? And what I mean by that is, everybody's upset with Ice Cube, everybody's upset with Diddy, everybody's upset with Cardi B, but the Cardi B's, the Diddy's, and everybody wouldn't be them if we didn't give our dollars, our views, our shares, our likes, and everything in that sense to them. So this definitely, the model of the show is do your thing. Because even when we talk about 50 Cent, as toxic as I think his comments was, he is lifted up by people who I've told time and time and again, why are we supporting this? When we talk about sports people, I've said, let's let them collapse. But people have said, no, we gotta support them. We gotta do this, we gotta do that, right? I don't have no beef with them. They are people who operate within the market, within the infrastructure of American capitalism. I have no issue with them because I understand how American capitalism works. I understand it to maintain, sustain, and support themselves and their families, that the way that American capitalism right now is built, that they're going to make certain concessions. I wasn't surprised by 50 Cent's comments. I'm not surprised by anything that's happening right now. My beef isn't with them. My question to people is, if you have such a huge issue with it, what do you want to do about it? Are you going to stop feeding into the narrative? Are you going to stop watching Power? Are you going to stop feeding the Cardi B Instagram lives? Right now, we have a whole back and forth, a childish back and forth that we need to get out of with Megan Thee Stallion and Tory, what is it? Tory Lanez? Tory whatever?
Lanez?
Yeah, Tory Lanez. And again, I don't have any issue with them. They do what they do. Artists use and galvanize people the same way politicians do. But if you have such an issue with it, are you going to start watching the lives? Are you going to start watching the videos? Are you going to not listen to the album that they dropped? I doubt it, because guess why? People are predictable. And the reason people probably don't call in is because guess what? Nobody wants to be held accountable. Because they want to just blame it and continuously blame it on a Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez, and all of these external forces When we have power to say, you know what? I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to support that. But guess what? Because nobody wants to be accountable, nobody will even think to engage something that dares hold them accountable. Because guess what? I have no beef with the Joe Bidens of the world. I have no beef with the Donald Trumps of the world. I have no beef with the Megans, the Tories, the 50s, the Ice Cubes, none of that. You want to know why? Because they adhere to American capitalism. And when if you say you are a steward and an academic, not as even a joke, in terms of understanding American history, you know how it works. Can I
give a slight pushback on that though? So I get as far as like not really, pushing too hard on them. But my only thing is when they come out of pocket and then make critiques on a community that they themselves are a part of, like a Michael Jordan.
Or
Tiger Woods. Or Bill Cosby. Because those same people, they play both sides. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you're going to be Mr. Capitalism, I need you to stay in that lane. Because you playing into telling black people what they need to do and this, that, and the third, while you being a issue to us, is just as problematic as you being the capitalistic or whatever. Like, they straddle as much as everybody else does.
Agreed.
And that's one of the issues I have with Michael Jeffrey, who in 30 years finally built a health center. After all these years of critiquing, yet you are the biggest supplier of death in many of communities to this day. And all we got is a health center that should have been there, in my opinion, in North Carolina. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but we have no beef with the entertainers. The entertainers
I was outside of the room, so what happened? What did you say, CA, the Halo Sage. I'm calling it Halo Sage. We gotta get the Dragon Balls and wish them in. What did you say, good sir?
I'm just pro celebrity, man. If Cardi B wants to meet with Bernie, I'm down for it. If Diddy wants to start the Black Power Party, I'm down for it. But whatever Barack Obama does, I'm down for it. Because why? Because I love my celebrities.
I get you.
I want to have discourse for once instead of agreeing.
I love it. You want to have discourse.
No, I get you. I was going to come back. It's like, but it comes at a price, though. It comes at a price. And the price is that you're using my life to continue your personal aims. And that's what people, with Dr. Cornel West, when I don't know if you watched it, but there is a series that Dr. Cornel West is doing with Dartmouth, and he's teaching a class about W. Du Bois. Mm-hmm. And this is great because he's talking about integrity. That's what we've really been talking about is integrity. It's like, what's the integrity of a Diddy? What's the integrity of a Cardi B? Because I need my politicians to have integrity. I am not with my vote just giving you my support. I'm asking you to help me get through this time. I'm giving you my trust. And I feel like what celebrities do is that they use their celebrity to disarm people to a politician's position. And that's why I got to hold celebrity accountable. And that's why I said earlier, even if, because let's take the pro-celebrity. You pro-celebrity, and I'm going to do this. What do we have to do as fans of celebrities to hold them accountable when they start making political positions? That's my question to you. My question to you.
Sorry, could you repeat the question, Quinn?
The question is, as a pro-celebrity supporter, I'm saying everybody, not just you, but as a pro-celebrity supporter, mm-hmm. How does a pro-celebrity supporter hold them accountable to political solutions?
I think it's as simple as just supporting when they do the right thing and making them feel it when they do the wrong thing. Like Daquan was just talking about with Jordan. Just imagine if when Jordan said the wrong thing, how the sales for Jordans would go down. That's just one example. I think it's as simple as that.
So basically, protest.
Protest, not support, not tune in when they have something going on. But it's a little unrealistic, but I think that will be the solution, honestly.
No, so I wouldn't say it's unrealistic. I think for me, it's realistic if we were just starting out. I think at the point that we're at makes it unrealistic. And I want to ground it in that because I think that we, as a quote unquote mass population, have to understand the progression of what we're in the sense that maybe 30 years ago that would have worked. Maybe 40 years ago that would have worked. But because we're dealing with right now, again, when we have studies come out or articles come out where we see 8 million people, quote unquote, slip into poverty, while we see the top 1% calcify their wealth. I don't think that is necessarily a political tool or weaponization to be used. And when we talk about things of that nature, when we talk about how we approach things, I think we have to be understanding in what Quenton said in the point in time and moment that we're in. Because even as Jeff Bezos and a gross amounts of wealth and corporate power is a talking point and is frowned upon, it does not stop Amazon and the monopoly that they are from continuing to grow its wealth.
Yeah, because people don't realize how global these things are.
And
so an American protest is a drop of the bucket. You know what I mean? They could just these things are in the UK. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And especially our culture. So yeah, I get exactly what he's saying because like that works when companies are American. Now you're dealing with multinational, so they can move in ways that companies of old couldn't. So, okay, this market's not being responsive. Let's move here. You know what I'm saying? And it just complicates what you can do when you bring in the world.
And everybody's plight's not the same. As we see, the global community is in uproar right now. We have Nigeria with the SARS movement, and then we have China with their human rights issues.
You know why I love this?
YouTube, don't check us because we know.
You know why I love this though? And man, CA, I make that joke, but I'm so serious. When we get product, my dude, you be one of the first people to get something. No
Appreciate
it. No nothing. I don't even want you to even have to post nothing because the support is everything. But I'm glad that you Black Anglo-Saxon, Quantum Poet, CA, you got to bring up your name now. Every sage got their name. I was talking to my brother-in-law earlier about this and how everything is global. And how the global perspective is so skewed because everyone's fighting in little silos. Because he is from a West African country. I'm not going to put it out there because I don't want my sister to kill me. He's from a West African nation, born and raised. And so he has that outside American perspective. And that's very important for Americans, for us Americans, for middle-class Americans to understand. If that the middle class being fucked in one country, and I'm going to say it, is being fucked everywhere. When everyone got to struggle to be in the top 1% or the top 10% to be able to live a life, there's a problem everywhere. Because in Thailand, we having a problem. Ghana, we having a problem. Nigeria, we having a problem. Ethiopia, we having a problem. China, we're having a problem. The problem is that government doesn't have a solution because everybody's beefing with themselves and beefing with each other. So what's happening is that these governments beefing with each other are trying to get people to galvanize to their side within their countries by using celebrity. And that's where, again, I'm not upset with celebrity. How can I be upset with celebrity? Part of my attitude comes from Harry Belafonte, comes from Cicely Tyson, comes from Sidney Poitier. If you watch the Sidney Poitier movie, my favorite one is 1950 No Way Out, where he was a black doctor helping a racist white dude who was a criminal. Like Sidney Poitier, they talked about Cassius Clay going to Muhammad Ali. It's not the celebrity that's the problem. It's the principles that we uplift that's the problem. Mm-hmm. So that's why I love when CA come in and say, it's like, yeah, and he coming in like, yeah, y'all been bashing, but I'm pro-celebrity, which y'all gotta say. And because I'm so serious, your voice, being the voices wanting to say, y'all said what y'all said, I'm saying what I'm saying, literally gives the conversation new life. And we have to, as Gilded Sages, give praise to people who are like, nah, I'm going to challenge your idea for the sake of challenging your idea.
No, that's what I love.
And that's what we have to do with our celebrities. That's what we have to do with our artists. We have to tell our artists, if we want a Prince, we have to be willing to say, I'll buy a Purple Rain because Prince made it. Mm-hmm. I'll buy Hotel Chateau or whatever that album is because Elton John made it. I don't care Elton John gay. I don't care that Freddie Mercury gay. Queen rocks. Who played Queens and don't get upset? Have you ever heard anybody get upset about Bohemian Rhapsody?
That song like.
Have anybody got upset about Tiny Dancer? If we can, Tiny Dancer, Blue Jean Baby. Anyway, my whole point is that celebrity plays a point in our culture. We have to hold our celebrities accountable. How do we hold them accountable? Because I'm going to have to dip out for a second. I'll be back, fellas. But how do we hold them accountable is a question. How do we hold them accountable? Because that's my last point, because I've been talking a lot. How do we hold our celebrities accountable if we want them to be close to us?
That's the problem, though. They're not ours.
Oh.
They're not ours. They make you believe that. That's their selling point. But they don't belong to us. They don't belong to us. They belong
break it down.
They belong to capital. Like, let's think about this for real. Like,
but capital is also our decisions to feed into capital.
And that's the whole point of this conversation.
Exactly. What I would like for and to hear in your discussions is agency. Mm-hmm. How do you see a person's agency within a capitalistic system? Not necessarily saying you have to extend it, but how do you see a person's personal agency?
Okay. But just to piggyback on that point, it's to me, I believe that you have the big corporate interests that really influence the celebrity, which comes down to the ordinary. So it's like a hierarchy, in my opinion. Because it's the money.
You're right.
It's the money and the capital, and wherever that goes is where they go.
This is public
opinion is what it is. Because at the end of the day, the capital is what really sustains a celebrity, not necessarily what people feel and think and all of those things. Because we got outrage and cancel culture. It never really works. It never really works unless it's egregious enough to where they're now messing the money up. But whoever they want to put up there to back them, as long as the money follows, there's no real cancel. You know what I mean? A lot of the people that should be canceled, in my opinion, still stick around, even though they're disgusting, because of the amount of capital they generate. You know what I mean? Yes.
Can I ask, do you think there are some celebrities who have a strong enough following where they can kind of say what they want and not get chastised for it? Can you think of any examples?
I mean, to me, a Dave Chappelle is one. He gets his backlash a lot, but he's always had a history of following the unbeaten path and displaying his opinions against, outrage and all of those things. There are very few, but unfortunately, a lot of those people that would use their voice, because I even like what's his name? Training Day. He has a great voice as far as speaking out
I think so.
on certain things. But what happens is you get to a point where it's no longer beneficial to you because you get older. You know what I mean? And like I said, these things are global now. So like a lot of the younger celebrities, they're not necessarily rooted in knowing a lot of these issues because they're not themselves fully ADOS or have that understanding of those things. Because now you get into like the newer generation of celebrities, they are from mixed backgrounds. So they don't necessarily get that rooted message of being either one or other. Like, for example, you get like a John Boyega, or you get like just people that might not have the history to speak on those things.
Yeah. And what I'll say to that is I think that every statement and every stance comes with a certain level of being chastised. It's more so, are you willing to move through being chastised and accepting being chastised and understanding what being chastised comes along with as it pertains to your economic matriculation?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know that we are going to be chastised. I know that I'm going to be chastised, even in terms of, supporting. It comes with a certain level of chastisement when it comes to people supporting whatever celebrity they want to support, right? And with that being said, I think it comes down to this is where I hold people accountable for having a certain level of agency within that advocation because everybody wants to blame white supremacy. Everybody wants to blame white male patriarchy, but what we have to come together and understand as a whole who quote unquote want to push against that is that look, it's going to come with being chastised, whether that be from white women, white men, your own group who fall in line with quote unquote white supremacy, it comes along with that. Chastisement is a universal law of standing up for things that are in good faith. I think a lot of people, entertainers, politicians, and everybody have to understand that if they want to change these things, that we have to get out of this notion that this is quote unquote a part of the game. We have to do these things, and it is what it is. You know me, I hate it is what it is.
Yeah, but
it is what it is dangerous and toxic more than anything else, and I've seen permeate throughout the culture because it is what it is says that it is and it will stay and I will go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think entertainers, speaking to Quan's point, is that a lot of them have made the decision, and not just entertainers, politicians, because one thing that we have to understand when we talk about politicians is that they have ascribed and subscribed to celebrity culture. So they themselves are not necessarily of the past in what politicians represented in terms of being representative of a slate of ideology. They are themselves now in 2020 just another affirmation of what celebrity is. Politicians are no bigger than celebrity culture.
Yeah.
They have tried to rise and matriculate through celebrity culture and have themselves become a part of celebrity culture. So they are slave to it like all other celebrities, and which is why we don't necessarily see people move and step outside of that because they don't stand for anything.
Yeah.
Bring the smoke.
Yeah. And
What do you go ahead?
And everybody fears the dislike button. You know, all we wanted the hearts, all we wanted the reposts.
Like or dislike
Yeah.
my video.
Nobody wants the dislikes because if you get enough of those, you know, the metrics tell you something about yourself that they used to didn't do that. They
The
used to
dislikes don't tell you anything about yourself.
Mhm.
It tells you everything about what people feel about your content.
Exactly.
Not about yourself personally.
Exactly. But these people internalize those things because the repercussions for those dislikes are monetary.
And that goes back into capitalism.
It's monetary.
And that goes back into the market.
And it's crazy because these things didn't always exist. So that's why I say the voices of some of those older generation Hollywood stars, even though they are valid and they are needed, they don't necessarily represent what's going on in this day and age because so much of this has gone far beyond what it is that they themselves saw. You know what I mean? Public opinion on this level of engagement never existed for some of those older celebrities, the Dave Chappelle's and the those type of celebrities. They didn't necessarily come up in a time where these things existed. So they were able to freely articulate themselves because sometimes when you look at the Dave Chappelle show and think about if some of that stuff was to come out today,
Wouldn't be able to exist.
What? Like
a lot of stuff wouldn't be able to exist.
The player haters ball.
Like Eddie Murphy Raw, Delirious.
None of this stuff exists today. None of it. Like you don't have any of those older celebrities in this culture. If the same things were back where it was what it is now. You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole different set of dynamics that a lot of people, celebrities, deal with that older celebrities just cannot speak to. You know what I'm saying? So it's just difficult because a lot of these stances get you and put you in places where now you could get silenced. You know what I mean? You got platforms that will take you off of everything for your stances. Like, I don't always agree with everything, but Farrakhan, perfect example. He's on no platforms. You have to search for Farrakhan. And that wasn't even for recent comments. That was for older content. You know what I'm saying? So the repercussions make it hard to really hold celebrities accountable because the price that they pay for making those stances, especially when the people aren't behind them, which Scene always says, the army, they're not necessarily going to prevent that fall. You know what I'm saying? If that answers your question.
But in the sake of time, I'm going to allow you, kind sir, to give any final stances as a friend of the family for anything that you have to or would like to say, because we're running on time. Is about to, touch base. But go ahead, and because I definitely agree where you're coming from in terms of, siding with celebrity, and like Q said before he departed, in that it's not necessarily about celebrity; it's about principle over money. And a lot of, unfortunately, celebrities now, as we discussed prior to, take money over principle. And what would you have to say to that before we adjourn?
Um, well, I also want to say, appreciate you guys for having me on the show again. I was joking about the whole taking side of
Also,
the
good,
celebrity.
man. We love. Hey, devil's advocate is good.
I try for a quick second, but in all honesty, to go back to the point that you made about the masses really helping, celebrities get to these levels of popularity and kind of guiding them to be these,
Demigod.
what they are. I know I hold myself accountable where I gotta just like not be so caught up with what they're doing and just focus on what the right thing to do is. Like so many people had their opinions about, you know, who they think should be the president, but I got to focus on what celebrities are doing the right thing. Like I feel like Ice Cube's doing the right thing, But I think for the average person, we got to really look at how much we are acquainted with the celebrities versus just acquainted with make our own well-beings. But I feel like I gotta cut back and following what celebrities do and focus on, my own well-being and the well-being of everybody.
It's a guy by the name of John H. Mueller. He wants to call in.
Okay. I mean, you can call in. But with that being said, though, was you finished?
Oh yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got, bro.
Okay. Much love.
Appreciate y'all.
Y'all enjoy. Be safe. You enjoy. Be safe. We definitely much love once we come out with a product. Like my man Q said, definitely will be the first to receive. But thank you again for another take from family of the house. CA.
Appreciate it, fellas. I sincerely appreciate that.
No, definitely.
Yeah, man, real.
And we will definitely keep in touch and much love. All right. So he can call in. The chat is in. We got a few more minutes up until 9. The call in. Everybody.
Yeah, I think I told him he got to download the Zoom. So
Yeah. So while we wait, everything is what it is in terms of celebrity. I never had an issue with celebrity in particular, but in terms of how people move, I don't have an issue with anything per se.
yeah.
It's just about how people are moving, and what it is that people are allowing to pass. Because it's one thing to say, oh, this person is bad, that person is bad, but again, you going back, you buying their clothes, you watching their shows, you doing everything that come along with it. So it's like, I mean, yeah, exactly. You saying you don't like it, but
you'll spend hours.
Do you not forget?
But question, for the people, do you have an idea of what to tune in for for next Saturday? Just to give the viewers just a little something to, hold on to.
I don't know. Everything is happening so quick and so fast.
I know, right? And the election is like in what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Because usually we try to do a week out ahead. To be honest, I got stuck with doing stuff for work. Yeah. So I wasn't necessarily full front in terms of thinking about what I wanted to touch on for next week. But like this conversation Thank you to all of the people who reached out, and we made the decision as a whole, but thank you for all of the people who influenced that decision. So if y'all want to hear anything or have a particular discussion,
Drop a comment.
drop a comment. Always feel free to reach out. Our email is again GILDED SAGES, GILDEDSAGES @gmail.com if you want to have a particular conversation or you want to give any suggestions. I'm always free and open to that. It helps us. It helps you. It helps us, build as a whole. So I'm always open to that. And just as full transparency, I wasn't necessarily thinking of, full movement, as I know the election is about to be a bigger thing. As I told you, I'll be in New York next week.
Yeah.
Shout out to the fam, Taquan, who is doing his thing out in New York with the independent, films, who I'll be touching base with and, going down there to have some political conversations to help them, get some things together in terms of as it relates to politics. So I want to definitely give a shout out to them and everything they're doing down there on their own in terms of building their own coalitions, in terms of, he's taking his own and moving forward as it pertains to political conversations around his own industry. So I want to give a big shout out to that man. Shout out to Norfolk State, because we all Norfolk State Spartans. So that's much love. Thank him to reaching out to us. And I'll probably, get some footage from down there.
Yeah, we could definitely use that.
So it is what it is. I'm not necessarily seeing this.
But yeah, for sure, everybody like, share, please support. And like I said, if anybody watching has any ideas for topics, please hit us up. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Anybody who has any ideas, want real politicos to talk on whatever issues you have, we are willing to talk about those, be it local, be it international, be it national. Please hit us up.
Yeah, man. It's all love. I think it's 9 o'clock.
Okay.
I gotta wait for a minute because I gotta get back to the fam.
Oh yeah, for sure. But with that being said, definitely.
Speaking of, niggas is getting married in 2 weeks.
Damn, man. Congratulations, bro. Congratulations.
The lady says, ring came in. I want to see it, but I don't.
Congratulations, man. For real. For real.
I'm pretty anxious. I want a sub skirt because I don't want to give her ring. But I'm like trying to make a deal right now. I'm like, damn, do I want to give her ring so I can see my ring? Because you know me, I'm not a super.
But that's what makes it so funny, man. Like I need to see this.
It is.
I gotta see that. Like
it is what it is. It is what it is. It's all love. My love in most parts is genuine.
Yeah.
I'm not always the best in expressing it, but I try to make people feel it when it is there, and try to give it when it is there, and show it in the best way possible. So again, everybody who is watching, can you please like the video, share, comment, help in any way possible. We trying to build, we trying to grow. This is just the first level of trying to put in place the components of, what it is we're doing. Again, for all of those who may be watching who might necessarily want to know, I want to do our projects with not only ourselves as GILDED Sages, but get that back to the community, with kids being able to help develop their portfolios, being able to help, their growth and development in terms of using the arts to get into politics. So much love, much do. I appreciate everybody who's supported me throughout, life, supported me throughout this endeavor in terms of eavesdrop. So with that being said, everybody, we enjoy. Um, Catch us next weekend. No, I'll be in New York. Just forgot that in the fast. We'll work on something. If y'all can chop it up, here and do what you do, we got the equipment down pat. We can make something happen. But much love. We'll see y'all when we see y'all. If not next weekend, weekend after next. And catch it because this finger probably when I come back. No. Might be covered. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Y'all be safe. Thank you to Quan. Thank you to Q, who had to leave due to some emergency. So it is what it is. Much love.